towards 7 Stoic ways to handle life's problems in Stoic Men Tribe. Today we're tapping into a powerful truth, a moment of inner strength. Sharp clarity and timeless wisdom. Don't skip any part of this video. Share your thoughts in the comment. Please do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button, like, and turn on notifications, so you never miss an update. Let's break it down. Life doesn't whisper before it roars. It doesn't wait for you to settle down, gather your strength, or tie your shoelaces before it takes off running in the opposite direction. It doesn't knock politely at the door of your comfort zone. It crashes through it, sometimes in the form of a loss you didn't see coming, a betrayal you didn't deserve, a silence where you once heard love, or a shift so seismic it splits the very ground beneath your feet. Life does not ask if you're ready, because it doesn't care about your readiness, only your response. The storms don't pause while you gather your thoughts. The waves don't stop rising because you're tired. The fire doesn't wait until you've had a good night's sleep. It's indifferent. And that indifference is not cruelty. It's the condition of nature itself. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, nothing happens to anyone that he is not fitted by nature to bear. Life shows up with its demands not to punish you, but to reveal you, to expose what's weak, to awaken what's dormant, to refine what's raw. Because here's the truth. Most of your growth will not be planned. It will be triggered by circumstances you didn't choose, by pain you didn't invite, by change that feels like chaos at first, but turns out to be cleansing. You will not always be handed lessons in tidy packaging. Sometimes they'll arrive wrapped in heartbreak, sometimes in failure, sometimes in silence so loud it forces you to confront the voice inside yourself. And when that happens, you have a choice: to curse the storm, or to become the kind of person who can navigate it, to wither in the face of pain, or to rise with deeper roots. So when life barges in unannounced, don't shrink, don't ask, why now? Instead ask, what is this asking of me? What can this forge in me? Because it's not here to break you, it's here to build you. Seneca said it best: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Let the hardship shape you, not shatter you. Let it be your teacher, not your tormentor. Let it call out the strength you didn't know you had until life demanded it. There are no alerts, no countdowns, no flashing signs when life decides to test the foundation you've built. No gentle tap on the shoulder, no whispered warning in the wind. Just a sudden shift, a rupture, and in its wake, silence. One day you feel aligned, you have momentum. Your relationships feel rooted. Your work has meaning. Your heart feels whole. Then something unravels, and not gradually, but all at once. A single moment, a sentence, a decision, a betrayal. Something outside of your control enters the scene and rewrites it entirely. Your plans? Shattered like glass. Your peace? Disturbed like a still pond suddenly struck by lightning. Your faith? Tested in ways you didn't think possible. And when that moment hits, when everything spins and you're left trying to remember which way is up, life is not asking, why aren't you ready? It's not asking, how do you feel about this? It's asking one brutal, revealing question. What will you become because of this? Not how much it hurt, not how unfair it was, but what now lives inside you because of it. Will you collapse into bitterness, or will you rise into clarity? Will you repeat the pain, or will you transmute it into wisdom? Will you let it define you, or will you let it refine you? The Stoics had a name for this furnace of transformation: adversity. To them, it wasn't the end of a good life. It was the beginning of a meaningful one. Seneca once wrote, "Fire tests gold. Suffering tests brave men." And what he meant is this: the very trials you think will destroy you are the ones designed to reveal you, not to punish you, but to prepare you, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. Because you don't become unshakable through ease. You don't become wise through applause. You become who you are, truly, deeply, irreversibly. when life strips away everything unnecessary, and all that's left is your soul, your choices, your resilience, your character. So when life knocks without warning, when it breaks your rhythm and steals your certainty, remember this: you were not made to avoid the storm. You were made to become the eye of it. And in the words of Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let the world shake, but let your mind remain. The ancient Stoics didn't speak of life as a concept to be dissected in safety. They spoke of life as it is, raw, relentless, and often painfully indifferent to our plans. Their philosophy. Not because he was free from fear, but because he had learned to master it within himself. Seneca, the great Roman thinker and playwright, didn't speak from the pedestal of comfort. He was exiled to a remote island, banished from power, stripped of status, and forced to reckon with his own insignificance. And it was there, in isolation, surrounded by silence, that he wrote his most profound letters on resilience, death, virtue, and inner freedom. They weren't meant to entertain. They were written to hold the soul together. Epictetus was never given the luxury of status. He was born in chains, a slave under Roman rule. His body was broken by his master, but his will remained untouched. And from those ashes, he rose to become one of the most revered teachers of Stoic wisdom. He didn't need gold, armies, or temples to prove his strength. He had himself, and that was enough. These men didn't theorize suffering. They lived it. They didn't run from discomfort. They studied it. They didn't avoid the storms. They built shelters of thought within them, because they knew something that modern minds often forget. Pain is not the enemy. Discomfort is not your downfall. Adversity is not always a curse. They understood that life would test you, not once but repeatedly. In your relationships, in your work, in your heart. And in those trials, you are not being punished. You are being revealed. They knew it's not the chaos that determines your fate, but the clarity you bring into the chaos. Not what happens to you, but what you decide it means. What you choose to become because of it. Their words are not distant echoes. They are weapons for the soul. They are tools for surviving in a world that does not pause to consider your feelings. They teach you to stop chasing ease, and instead, build endurance. To stop looking for perfect conditions, and instead, prepare your inner climate. Because the truth is, life will break around you, things will fall apart, people will disappoint you, dreams will sometimes die. But what matters most is how you respond when everything external slips from your grasp. Do you collapse? Do you rage? Do you numb yourself? Or do you, slowly, quietly, rise? The Stoics teach us to rise, to endure, to sharpen the blade of our inner life against the stone of reality. They left us not philosophy for scholars, but medicine for the soul. And as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is already inside you. You just have to train it, choose it, and carry it through the storm. They never sat around hoping for an easier road. They didn't beg the heavens for lighter burdens, quieter days, or gentler challenges, because they understood a truth that most avoid their entire lives. It's not ease that forges strength. It's resistance, it's pressure, it's pain. The strong are not born. They are built. Built in the thick of trials. Built in sleepless nights, in unanswered questions, in days that break your heart but not your spirit. They didn't run from the fire. They gazed at it. They walked into it, because they knew that the soul, like iron, is made resilient not in rest, but in flame. Every hardship became a forge. Every setback, a sharpening stone. Every insult, every betrayal, every moment they were overlooked, a silent opportunity to grow roots deeper than anyone could see. They didn't ask life to be kind. They trained to endure when it wasn't. Because the Stoic understands. To rely on fortune is to be owned by it, but to build oneself from within is to walk free, even in chains. So they did not chase comfort. They practiced discomfort. They chose discipline when distraction was easier. They chose integrity when compromise was tempting. They chose stillness when the world screamed for reaction. And when the storms came, as they always do, they did not flinch. They did not beg. They did not collapse. They stood firm, unshaken. Not because the world was calm, but because they were. This is the Stoic way. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. Marcus Aurelius. Their wisdom was not born in tranquility, nor nurtured in the luxury of easy days. It was carved from the marrow of hardship, hammered into being by sleepless nights, quiet despair, and the relentless weight of existence. Theirs was a philosophy of scars, not soft words, of endurance, not escapism. And yet it lives. Centuries later, it breathes through us, not as dogma, not as doctrine, but as a steadying hand for every soul who has ever knelt under the pressure of life and whispered, "How do I endure this?" Because life doesn't come with warnings. It doesn't offer explanations before it tears through your plans, disrupts your peace, or breaks your heart. It arrives uninvited, and when it does not care if you are ready. The Stoics didn't flinch from this reality. They stared it down. They say, not to control the betrayals, the injustices, the losses, the endless distractions, but to choose who you will be in the wake of them, to govern your impulses, to train your attention, to live by values, not moods, to stand tall while the wind howls, to walk forward while others freeze. This is the power the Stoics discovered and preserved. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations during calm rains. He wrote them while Rome burned with plague and conflict. Seneca didn't pen his letters in a life of ease. He was ordered to take his own life by the very emperor he once counseled. Epictetus? He was born a slave, beaten, crippled, and yet he taught that no man is free unless he masters himself. Their wisdom was not decoration. It was a lifeline, a compass forged in the crucible of real pain and profound adversity. And that's why it still matters. Not because it's clever, but because it works. In a world that rarely pauses for your grief, that rarely explains itself, that owes you nothing and offers no guarantees, your only lasting sanctuary is your soul. He is a wise man who doesn't grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. They met life's harshest blows not with complaint, not with victimhood, but with unflinching clarity. They didn't collapse beneath the weight of the question, "Why me?" They stood tall and asked, "What can I build from this?" That's the difference between drifting through life and rising through it, between feeling cursed and becoming carved. The Stoics understood that the universe is under no obligation to deliver comfort. Life is not a performance tailored to your preferences. It is a crucible. And every moment of discomfort, every betrayal, every fall, every unanswered prayer is fire testing your form. They didn't waste time asking why fate dealt them a certain hand. Instead, they studied the cards. They learned the rules. And they played with intention, not expectation. You see, life doesn't hand you what you want. It hands you what will shape you, if you're willing to meet it with courage. If you stop interpreting every hardship as a sign that something's wrong with you, and start seeing it as a sign that something is awakening within you, the shift begins when you stop asking to be spared and start asking to be strengthened. When you stop waiting for rescue and start building resilience. When you stop begging the world to be softer and start forging yourself to be sharper. That's when the transformation begins. Not when your problems disappear, but when your perspective changes. When you stop needing every storm to pass quickly and instead ask, what can I learn here that calm could never teach me? This doesn't mean you suppress your pain. It means you stop worshipping it. It means you stop letting it own you. You recognize that pain is not always punishment. Often it's preparation. Discomfort is not cruelty. Sometimes it's your soul stretching beyond the shape it once lived in. And that requires brutal honesty. Not the kind that shames you, the kind that frees you. It's hard to look at your suffering and say, this is mine to bear, and I will use it. But that's what the great ones did. That's what Marcus Aurelius did as he wrote wisdom by candlelight while plague swept through his empire. That's what Seneca did as he faced unjust death with dignity. That's what Epictetus taught, crippled and enslaved, and still free in mind. They knew. The question is never, why is life unfair? The question is always, who will I become because of this? And that's the work. That's the invitation. To let every trial refine your character instead of ruin your spirit. To stop begging for ease and start embodying endurance. To stand where others fall and rise where others retreat. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Let this be your reminder. You don't need a lighter load. You need a stronger spine. 1. Don't take it personally. Separate perception from reality. When hardship strikes, it rarely announces its true purpose. It arrives disguised, sometimes as rejection, sometimes as silence, sometimes as chaos. And in the rawness of those moments, most people make a quiet, destructive assumption. This is happening because of me. Because I'm not good enough. Because I'm flawed. Because I always ruin things. Because life has singled me out for suffering. It's a reflex to turn every external blow into an internal wound. To see events not for what they are, but for what they seem to say about us. The job you didn't get becomes a reflection of your inadequacy. The person who walked away becomes a mirror of your unworthiness. The criticism handed to you, whether fair or not, becomes an echo of your inner doubt. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what modern minds must reclaim. The event is neutral. It is your entropy. Epictetus said it best. The chief task in life is simply this: to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. But here's the problem. Most people live on the wrong side of that line. They try to control how others think of them. They try to change the past with regret. They try to predict the future with anxiety. They waste their energy fighting things that were never in their hands to begin with. You can't control who breaks your heart. You can't control whether people apologize. You can't force the world to be fair or circumstances to be comfortable. You can't stop the storm from coming, but you can learn how to walk through it without losing your footing. You can always control your choices. You can control how you respond to loss. You can control your discipline, your attitude, your effort, your focus. You can control what you build with what remains, even if everything else is shattered. And that's where your power lives. Not in bending the world to your will, but in bending yourself toward what matters. The Stoic doesn't waste his energy cursing the tide. He trains to sail. He adapts. He fortifies what's within, so that what's outside cannot destroy him. The weak blame fate. The wise work with it. They focus on the soil they can till, not the sky they can't touch. So when the world feels heavy, ask yourself, what part of this is mine to carry? If it's not yours, drop it. If it is, lift it with strength and intention. And remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Because peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from mastering yourself. If any part of this video resonates with you, tell me in the comments which of these signs have you been seeing in your life. And if you're ready to step into your best self, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's calm coming next. Your future is waiting. Now go claim it